What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the 411, the section of the channel that is dedicated to reviewing those games of the current generation, to include the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, the Xbox One, the Series S, the Series X, the Nintendo Switch, and of course, the PC. An interestingly fun game to go ahead and review. As you can see by the title there, it is Impact Winter. Another interesting fact about this game is that as of right now, I'm not seeing it available in the Xbox or the PlayStation Network stores, at least in the US anyway. It turns out it's in a couple of other countries still available for purchase, but for whatever reason it's no longer available in the United States. So if you were one of the people who had gotten their hands on this game, then good on you. You'll be able to try it out, hopefully after watching this, and you'll be able to enjoy it. If not, well, it's still available for download on the Windows application, aka the PC, so you can go ahead and get it there and play this fun little game. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this baby started. Cool. So I am outside the church. The church is essentially your headquarters. This is your main base of operation. So let's talk about the game really fast. The game itself is a survival game, if you kind of really didn't grab much from that. It's something in the likes of The Long Dark, but not as intense. Pretty much anybody, I think, can pick this up and be able to jump into it and at least survive like a good portion of the time. There's not a whole lot in the story. Flush out. Essentially what happened is a meteor or asteroid went and impacted the Earth, caused devastating aftermath, such as covering the atmosphere in debris and smoke and clouds and dirt that it went and kicked up from the impact, and most other things that large asteroids would go ahead and do, cause tidal waves and storms and other such things that essentially blocked out the sun. And in the time that went and proceeded from that, the entire Earth ended up being covered in a deep dark cold, aka an impact winter. That's where it draws its name from. So you start off this game by receiving a mysterious radio transmission which claims that help is inbound. So the entire goal of this is to survive for 30 days. As you'll see here on my timer, I have 14 days left. I figured this would be a good time to actually go ahead and start the review on this. Basically what you're doing, as I mentioned, is you're trying to survive for those 30 days until help actually arrives. You can go ahead and decrease your timer by doing things such as helping stragglers throughout the world as well as members on your team. And you can also decrease the timer by upgrading your robot, which is affectionately referred to as Akko. And then of course blowing open vans and restoring power and radio signals and whatnot to boost your signal to help decrease that timer bit by bit. Throughout this, you're going to be doing necessary things such as collecting resources, food, water, supplies and whatnot for you to be able to craft, as well as just trying to keep you and your team alive. There's a lot of things in this environment you got to watch out for that are going to go ahead and kill you, and we'll go and look at some of those. But just give you a heads up, some of those things will be starvation, dehydration, passing out from lack of sleep, bleeding to death, your health going down if you're attacked by an animal or accidentally set off a trap, freezing to death because it is cold and you need to be aware of how cold you get and keeping yourself alive. With all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and check out what we got here. Alright, so right now we're going to go ahead and head down into the church, and we are going to see our teammates. Alright, so here's your church. To the upper part of the screen, or the northern part, you have a sleeping area, which you can see 3 of my 4 teammates is actually sleeping. And then to the left over here, you have 2 areas. One's usually occupied by the guy who's pretty good at crafting survival-based things. Over here, usually occupied by the lady who essentially assigns herself as the cook. And then you have this area over here. This is where the robot charges up. You can see him in the corner there, getting his batteries recharged, as well as the individual who does crafting for the robot. And then here's a little workshop where the individual that is pretty handy at mechanical things is usually located. Now, Some of this stuff here isn't here to start off with. You need to collect supplies to be able to go and upgrade them. So my fire right now has been upgraded from a basic fire to a basic furnace, which decreases the fuel consumption. You can burn various different things to keep your fuel going, such as gas, of course, and other things like wood. Let's go ahead and throw a wooden plank on there. We'll do the small one. Get that fire going a little bit. You want to keep this going because your teammates will get cold and that'll cause them to freeze to death. It also helps you even though you're venturing out there most of the time. This is another thing you can have upgraded. This is your water filtration system, so you can collect blocks of ice once you upgrade your robot to be able to go and pull blocks of ice, put it in here, and you can fill up empty water bottles, which is amazing because don't let these people deceive you. They're greedy and they'll come over here. And if you don't make sure they're fed by making sure they have resources here in their rations, such as this one, they will start stealing from your stash, which you can upgrade later to have a safe to keep them from doing so. But it is a good idea to make sure that they remain fed. So in your stash here, you can see right here is pretty much what I have carried in on my person. Some rum because, you know, gotta keep warm and gotta keep hydrated. Some cooked soup, so, you know, keep that energy and that food level up. And then some ammunition for a rifle. Necessary item when you're out and about exploring. Over here to the left is what we have in storage. Now you'll have your all menu, but generally it's broken down by food, water, or consumables drinking wise, your ingredients for being able to make hearty meals, keeps everyone happy, your weapons, your wood, your material, metal, electronics, health things such as bandages and antibiotics, animal byproducts, bones or sinew, which you can use for crafting, miscellaneous things such as blueprints, a defibrillator, some tools. We'll go ahead and take a couple of these ones right here. And then we got fuel and power for when you eventually gain something to be able to roam around on. And then you're back to all. Okay, we are back outside again. Let's go ahead and check our guys. So here's your menu, basically. You'll see on the radar there's a bunch of different spots you've discovered, people moving around, as well as various different places that you can check out or go to. That'll be indicated by those little GPS icons there. Then you got yourself. You can check out your info, your events that you're doing, and roles that you've assigned to individuals and what they mean. As you'll see, I am doing okay for right now. Then here's your team members. You can check out their info and how they're doing, as well as things that they can craft for you. There's Acolyte, your lovely robot, his upgrades and things that, you know, he can do based on those upgrades. And then your current inventory. So let's go ahead and head to one of these spots. Get one of these traps set up. Now you need to limit the amount of time that you are out and about doing things, primarily because it burns energy, and then of course you get cold. Here's some wolves here. So once you get the rifle, you actually have the ability to go ahead and take these puppies out, no pun intended. Usually it takes a few shots though for you to actually go ahead and get these babies taken out. And I just got attacked by a wolf. So there you go. You get attacked by wildlife. Let's go ahead and put some meat on there to bait. Take this, and take this. That's a lot of what you're doing. It's getting dark. Temperature monitoring is up there on the right hand side in your HUD. You can see it went from -19 degrees Celsius to -24. It's a pretty good idea for you to find some shelter at that point. It's a little bit warmer over this way. Let's go ahead and get back into this church real quick, and we'll pick it back up once I get my guy warmed up. Okay, so another thing you can do is you can use your robot to drill out ice cubes to be able to fill up that water supply system I had. You also have icebergs, or little frozen chests and such, that you can drill out as well once you upgrade it enough to be able to do so. Right now I don't have my little robot buddy upgraded enough to be able to do that. I'm going to go ahead and try and find some parts to be able to do that later on. So we did talk about the combat system. Combat system is pretty straightforward. You need to be able to get yourself a weapon first. You got firearms in the form of rifles and handguns as well as bows, and then you'll need to get yourself some ammunition to be able to operate those, such as like handgun or rifle ammo and arrows that you can go ahead and fire from your bow. Littered throughout the world, you'll find like little scavengers and people here that you can help. This guy wants me to unlock this. I don't have a lockpick or anything to open it yet. I kind of broke one trying to go and open up something else. But you can go ahead and help those guys out if you find them. Here's a radio battery. I will need this for a different radio, so I'll go ahead and take that. Here's a Nomad. They rummage about the map, random different locations. You can meet them and you can fulfill requests to be able to get supplies. This one right here wants me to find something like this, and then I'll just go ahead and turn those into him for a reward later on that increases your points, yada yada yada. Okay, so here's another spot. Okay, so let's see where this ladder is. Here we go. So you can climb up some of these towers. Battery, like I just picked up. You can go ahead and restore. Here we go. Place the battery. Let's see what happens. Alright, look at that. We just decreased our time by doing something like that. And that is one of the ways for you to go ahead and decrease that waiting for being rescued timer. New event. Very nice. Alright, so you'll see some of these buildings you can enter, like this one. This is a house that's buried in snow. There's some supplies in there you can go ahead and pick up, such as bolts, tubing, electronical parts, and other things of that nature. Got a bunch of wolves here at my campsite, so I'm not going to get too close. But basically what you can do is there's a little storage box there on the side. You can drop stuff off, and every time you sleep, your little robot will take items back to the church, which is cool. You can sleep there to restore energy, burn some fire. It's pretty basic, this one is. You can upgrade them later on to make them a little bit better, but it just kind of blows through. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll sleep for a little bit, just enough to get some supplies back, and then go and get back out here and start rummaging about. You'll see up there at the top of the screen, there's that little thing on the back of a trailer. That basically is saying that I can use explosives to blow that thing open for some supplies, which may be useful later on. Not sure how to get up there just yet because that bridge is broken, but we're going to head down to this other radio site, and we are going to see what we can find. See, the impact crater is close by here. One of the impact craters anyway. I've found 3 so far. Okay, so we made it nearby where we want to be. That's an empty gas can. GPS navigation. And I'm just kind of roaming around this site that's nearby, which I think is a fueling station, to see if I can find maybe a radio battery or something else of use. Alright, it doesn't look like I was able to find a radio battery, but we're gonna go down here anyway. Maybe there's something else in the area, maybe not. Let's check the radar real quick. We got a point of interest down there to check out. So let's get over here, see if we got some wolves to contend with. It's a crack. Doesn't look like there's any wolves. So that means that the area that we're looking for is up in the other side. Alright, let's go down here, see what we got down here. And we've got downtown, which is a snow cave. And so let's go ahead and go down into the snow cave. Now the thing about snow caves and other things that go underground is the temperature drops dramatically, and the amount of time that you can spend down there is also pretty well reduced. So you got to be quick and intentional about what you're doing in order to survive. Sometimes there's also animals that find their way down into these things. So you just got to be aware of what's going on, what you're doing. Let's go ahead and drink some water. No, we can use that. Use that for filling up our water. Is this drinkable? Nope. I'll use that too. Bring it back to the group. Alright. What we got here? Alright. Nothing. Another can. Some more bottled water. Take another can. And that's about as much as we can carry right now. Some seeds. I just picked up some seeds. So seeds are currency in this game. It doesn't really say why it's currency. If I were to make an educated guess, I'd probably say that all the food supply and everything being gone, that everybody wants some seeds so that they can go and plant some food for themselves, because self-sustainability is the best way to achieve survivability. And that's what we're doing too. We haven't found a way to get our own food, but we have gone and found a way to get some water, at least the beginning stages of it. And who knows, maybe we'll end up reaching day 0 before we even have to worry about going too much further into that. Alright, so that was a quick down and dirty of some of the things you can do in the game, and you know, basically what the game all entails. Before we go ahead and conclude this video, I am going to show you what crafting looks like, and we will, on my way back, talk about what we went over. So the audio for the game, the audio is actually pretty well leveled out. It is basically a very somber sounding like audio, as you can kind of hear there in the background. I think it's pretty befitting for the game, so I don't have any complaints about that. There's nothing really too exciting, nothing too dreary about it. It seems pretty well balanced in that regard. Controls are actually pretty well responsive. It's not the most responsive system, so you can't really make quick moves or anything dodging, but I think it fits really well because you're trudging through like feet, like, I don't know, maybe 3 feet of snow and whatnot. I don't know how tall this guy actually is, but you're trudging through a pretty good amount of snow, so I wouldn't really expect like it to be even more responsive than that. Now the combat system, I did wish the combat system was a little bit better here. As you could like tell earlier on when I was fighting that wolves, like sometimes the guy missed, and maybe that's just due to accuracy, so there's a margin of error to expect there. He's probably not like a ex-military guy or whatever, but I would expect it to be a little bit better than what it was. And the animals and whatnot, they just kind of like take hits. It takes wolves like 2 hits. I think a well-placed shot should have been at least 1, but you're pretty much like limited to just going and using your weapons that you have either crafted or that you've gone and acquired throughout the game. So combat could be a little bit better. You do have the ability to get a snowmobile later on in the game once you've completed enough of the storyline and find the parts to be able to craft it. But for the most part, you're walking around on foot, so just get comfortable with that. You're probably going to end up having to do that later on as well, because your fuel that you collect, you know, you either got to determine to use it for the snowmobile or the fire, and it's not like it's an unlimited resource. I wish there was more storage space, but I guess that's about like what you'd expect it to be, as far as the fact that you've got to really account for what you're doing and being intentional in that sense as well. So I think that's pretty realistic, but I do wish there was more. I'm not gonna say like, you know, oh, that's perfect, like tiny amounts of storage is absolutely perfect for a survival game. No, but it does remind me a little bit of kind of the older Resident Evil, in the sense that, you know, you got to be, again, intentional with what you're doing. Alright, so let's talk about crafting a little bit. Let's heal this guy really fast. Alright, so you can heal your people, or you can just let them naturally heal. Healing them gives you more points like this, which is always beneficial. And then letting them naturally heal, like, well, you don't get those points. So let's see, what can we do? Upgrade the radar. I'd really love to have another thermo drill, but I need to find a magnifying glass. Battery level. It's not really been an issue for me right now. What are you doing? You want to craft something for me? I think I'm going to have him craft... Let's get some arrows, just to show you what that's like. So, bone fragments and some planks. Alright, he's going to start crafting. And once they start crafting, there'll be a little bit timer that appears right there. You can see it. And that timer just indicates how long it's going to take them to do that. So that's pretty much it. That is the game. You were trying to survive for 30 days, decreasing that timer if you can. If you can't, well, you know, you got to survive for that 30 days. Additionally to that, you need to make sure that these people here, these lovely individuals that you find yourself with, somehow survive as well. And how do you do that? Along with making sure you stay warm, you got to make sure that they stay warm. And along with making sure that you're fed and hydrated, you got to make sure they're fed and hydrated. And if that wasn't annoying enough, there's a morale meter. Each one of these people has a level of morale, which is located there at the bottom by the smiley face under each character. And you can see some of them aren't too happy and some of them are, which can lead them to getting into arguments or just not doing their work to the best, which they can get injured. And so it's a little bit to watch over and make sure you're paying attention to, but it's not impossible. I think that, yeah, anybody can really come in here and play this game without being too concerned. Alright everyone, that is the game. Thank you for watching. So if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you are updated on when new videos are dropped onto the channel. And as always, show that comment section a little bit of love. Thanks for watching.